Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because, well, we're tackling a problem pretty much all of us face: the sheer, overwhelming noise of modern life. Between constant notifications, endless responsibilities, and a million different opinions on what we should be doing, it's incredibly easy to lose sight of what actually matters. But listen, we aren't going to look for some trendy modern life hack today. Instead, we're going to use a 2,000-year-old Stoic framework to cut right through all that noise and pinpoint exactly what truly matters in your life. We're going to build a mental model that you can literally use every single day. All right, here is our step-by-step agenda for today. We'll start with the foundation of Stoicism, move on to identifying life outcomes, understand the dichotomy of control, find the overlap, and then finish up with daily application. Section 1. The foundation of Stoicism. According to an analysis by Wijezina in 2025, the absolute core rule of Stoicism boils down to this: identify what is in my control and keep my focus on it. I mean, it sounds incredibly simple, doesn't it? Yet, as we all know, it's profoundly difficult to actually execute. Human beings have this natural tendency to just agonize over things we can't change. You know, the weather, the opinions of strangers, the absolute gridlock traffic on our morning commute. From an evolutionary standpoint, our brains are basically hardwired to endlessly scan the horizon for threats and uncertainties, which is exactly why we obsess over things we cannot manage. But Stoicism demands that we aggressively identify the boundary line of our own agency. If you take literally nothing else away from the beginning of this explainer, please remember this: your focus is a finite resource. Expending it on things outside your control isn't just frustrating, it's a massive misallocation of your energy. Moving right along, Section 2. Identifying your life outcomes. Jeff Chen's 2020 research presents a pretty heavy concept here. A life outcome isn't just, deciding what to have for dinner this weekend. It's a basic identification required to give direction to your very existence. Without establishing a clear life outcome, you're effectively a ship drifting at sea without a compass. Sure, you might be moving fast and you might be super busy, but are you actually navigating toward a meaningful destination? Chen's framework insists that before you take any meaningful action, you absolutely must boldly define what it is you're ultimately striving for. And this brings us to a deeply introspective requirement. You have to identify the things that actually matter to you in your life, not what matters to your boss, not what matters to your parents, and definitely not what social media tells you should matter. This requires you to really isolate the specific things that hold true, unshakable value to you personally. It's essentially an exercise in stripping away all the superficial stuff. When you sit down in a quiet room and honestly ask yourself, okay, what actually matters to me, the list is usually surprisingly short and deeply profound. Let's ground this high-level philosophy in a really practical example, straight from our source material. A perfect example of something that matters is simply a healthy life. It's universal, yet deeply personal, right? Almost everyone would agree that having a healthy life is a fundamental, foundational life outcome, because without health, pursuing literally any other life outcome becomes exponentially more difficult. But here's the catch: a healthy life is a very broad, sweeping statement. It's a fantastic destination, sure, but it doesn't give us the turn-by-turn directions on exactly how to get there. Which leads us to Section 3, the dichotomy of control. Once you know what matters to you, like our previous example of a healthy life, you have to rigorously determine which elements of it are strictly within your own power. You see, you can't just wake up and demand, I command my body to never get sick or age. It'd be nice, but biology, genetics, and random chance are totally outside of your control. The Stoic framework requires you to act like a ruthless editor, just crossing out every single aspect of your desired outcome that you can't directly influence. What you're left with are only the raw, actionable items that belong entirely to you. This beautifully illustrates the dynamic we're talking about. We have to separate our broad goals, our what matters, like a healthy life, from what you control, which are the granular daily habits, the things you eat, the actions you take right in this very moment. Think of it like this: your broad goal is your compass, telling you the general direction you're traveling, but your daily actions, those are the engine of the ship. You can't directly control the abstract concept of health, but you have 100% control over whether you choose to eat a nutritious meal or go for a walk today. This separation is a total game changer because it protects you from anxiety. You stop worrying about the abstract outcome and start focusing entirely on your direct, actionable inputs. Now for the really fun part, Section 4, finding the overlap. Let's see how this builds into an exact 3-step mental process for achieving your chosen goal. Step 1, identify what matters. We did that. Step 2, identify what is within your control. We did that too. Step 3 is where the magic formula happens. Focus on the overlapping area of these two circles. Imagine a giant Venn diagram. Circle A is things I deeply care about. Circle B is things I can actually control. The intersecting space right in the middle is the only place you should be living your life. If you care about something but can't control it, you get anxious. If you can control something but just don't care about it, you get apathetic. But that overlap, that is the absolute sweet spot of purposeful action. And finally, we arrive at section 5, daily application and focus. So the absolutely crucial point here from Chen's 2020 guide is that this specific intersection is the only place deserving of your energy. This overlapping area is where your focus should be on your life. Think of your mental energy when you wake up in the morning like a battery. Every single time you worry about the news, stress over someone else's opinion, or fret about some uncontrollable future event, you are actively draining that battery outside of the overlapping area. To truly master this Stoic framework, you have to relentlessly pull your attention back to that intersection. It is a daily and honestly sometimes hourly practice of redirection. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly powerful question. Not what will my health be like in 10 years? Not why didn't I start exercising a year ago? But exactly this. Today, what do I do to be healthy? That is the Stoic framework in action. It takes the grand, profound life outcome of a healthy existence, runs it through the filter of what is strictly in your control, and distills the whole shebang down to an immediate present tense action. So as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with this challenge. Apply this to whatever matters most to you right now. Identify your outcome, find what you actually control, and ask yourself, what is the one overlapping action you're going to take today?